I'm Michael.
And I'm Michelle.
I'm Michaela. Over the years, the topic of sexual education being taught in schools has been well attended. Most believe it should stay being taught in schools, while others think that it should be up to the parents to teach their children about sex. While most parents would be all for educating their child on sex, unfortunately some children aren't as lucky and don't have parents that are willing to talk to them about sex. Sex education in schools is important because without it, kids will run into life-changing events such as STDs or babies. Without sex education, kids won't know what is true and what is false, and it can also help LGBT kids. With that being said, well-established sexual education in public schools at a young age will lead to youth being better educated on sex and will lead to a healthier sex behavior and a healthier lifestyle for youth in the future. Many young adults get STDs because they didn't get proper information about sex when they were younger. More and more kids are becoming sexually active at an early age. If a young adult wants to have sex, they are going to do it, and no one can stop them, but we can stop the increasing rate of STDs. Young adults get by teaching sex education to kids at a young age. According to Molly Maslin from NBC News, 60% of American high school students have had sex by their senior year. When having sex, if protection is not used, consequences can happen, and many of these same adolescents are getting these dangerous STDs. According to Kevin Chavez, a report from NCLS states that adolescents ages 15 to 25 portray 25% of the sexually active population. Of these young people, half of them will obtain a new STD. Additionally, about 3.2 million young females are infected with at least one of many STDs. Safe sex, in my opinion, is such an easy topic to portray. Use a condom. Most children are being taught to just say no or abstinence is the only way to go, but this is reality. Kids just need to be taught about safe sex. Peter DeWitt from Education Week shows that advocated for youth believe accurate balanced sex education, including information about contraception and condoms, is a basic human right. I could not agree more with this statement. It is a right of young people to have the option of purchasing condoms and birth control, to have sex in a safe manner. Education of this type can reduce the risk of STDs and can help them with making the right decision that will be crucial for later in life. Many young adults also have oral sex without knowing that it is sex, and you can still get STDs from it. Janelle Marie, who is the founder of the STD Project, talks about a young woman she had an interview with who obtained genital herpes even though she still thought of herself as a virgin. Because she only had oral sex, during this interview, the 19-year-old said that no one told me you could contract a STD by having oral sex. I thought I was being responsible because I was saving myself for marriage. I came from a very religious background, and that's what I was taught. Good girls don't practice safe sex. They don't have sex until marriage. With just a little knowledge about sex, this girl could have been saved from this STD. So many young adults get STDs simply because they just don't know anything about sex. Currently in Nebraska, STD rates are at an all-time high. According to KATV, the Douglas County Health Department released its State of Health report, and STDs have skyrocketed. Chlamydia reached an all-time high with 3,390 reported cases, a 5% increase from 2017. Gonorrhea rates are increased by 15%, and syphilis cases are up to 25%. Teaching sexual education at a young age in schools also helps with LGBT kids. Being an LGBT kid in school can be a challenge for some kids when it should just be a normal way of life. Kids should not have to worry about what people are going to think about them if they are attracted to the same gender or if they have confusions about their gender. According to Hannah Slater, who is an intern at the Center for American Process, lesbian, gay, and bisexual youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight peers. LGBT youth is discriminated against because of the lifestyle they choose. If schools were to teach in advance at a young age that being gay, lesbian, or bisexual is normal, then maybe not as many kids would be picked on. With all the glamorization of sex in media and on the internet, it is difficult for kids to know what is true and what is false. Shows like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom can be a part of how sex is glamorized. It can make kids think that, wow, if I have a child at the age of 16, I'll be on TV and be rich. Most know this is not reality, and having a child is much more than being on a TV show. Shows like The Bachelor can also have effects on young adults. According to Sarah Gilbert from Daily Finance, shows that a study about how The Bachelor may change a young girl's view on sex or getting a guy. Sexuality is all over the internet. It is also dramatized from the ideal body type to the sexuality itself. Media created an unrealistic view of how sexual encounters are supposed to look, to make sex look glamorized to young people. Sex is really all over the internet, and when kids don't get enough information about sex, the internet is the first place they'll go to find out what they want to know. There are many myths and misconceptions about sex. One being the most common: don't have sex because you will get pregnant and you'll die, said by Coach Carr in the 2004 movie Mean Girls. Of course you won't die by having sex, but you may get pregnant or contract a serious STD. Another myth is that you can't get pregnant the first time you have sex. While it may seem unlikely, it is totally possible for you to get pregnant the first time you have sex. Another myth is that if I have an STD, I'll know because of the symptoms. According to Zahara Mulroy, many people don't notice the signs of an infection. You cannot tell that a person has a STD. You could be standing in line next to them at the store and you would never know. If you have a feeling you may have an STD, most checkups and tests for STDs are free and confidential, so make sure you see your doctor immediately or a sexual health clinic close to you to be tested so you can be treated for your STD as soon as possible, because most are curable if caught quick. Some may argue that sex education should not be taught in schools and it should be up to the parents to educate their children about sex. According to Matt Walsh, who is a blogger, writer, and speaker, believes that sexual education needs to stay out of schools and stay inside the homes. According to Rebecca Klein, a report released by the California Department of Public Health in 2013 declared that, thanks to sexual education, California teen birth rate dropped to almost 60%. According to Planned Parenthood, 43% of parents say they feel very comfortable talking with their children about sex. However, 57% say that they only feel somewhat comfortable or uncomfortable talking to their children about sex. In conclusion, well-established sexual education in public schools at a young age will lead to a youth being better educated on sex and will lead to a healthier sex behavior and a healthier lifestyle for youth in their future. Without such sexual education, adults will run into life-changing events such as a STD or even a baby. It can help LGBT kids, and without sexual education, kids won't know what is true and what is false because of all of the glamorization in the media. In the future, I hope to see every school in America teaching a well-established form of sexual education in all schools, because without it, our children's future may crumble.